We are here for another Thursday episode. Last time we launched a kind of a one-off an Annie episode.
Yeah, when are you doing that musical again? I just want to make sure I don't miss it.
Sorry, yeah, it is over. Tim actually, a guy from our church, texted me Saturday morning, and it was in between, one of the rare moments that I'm backstage. And I look at my phone. He's like, "Hey, I'm hearing good things about the musical. I'm going to come next week."
And you're like, no, it's this week.
No, you're not. I was like, he said, "What are the other performances?" Like, we're in the middle of one right now, and we have one at 6. He's like, "Oh, I can't make it." But for those who are watching online, you may have noticed a guest here. Those who are just on our normal podcast haven't you don't know because maybe you heard him laughing. But we have FDR himself.
Wow.
From the musical.
What an honor.
My friends, fellow Americans.
So I was hoping I missed it. Maybe you guys could act out a little bit of it so I can get at least some of the sense of what I missed. I'm actually super bummed that I missed it. Yeah. And I wish it was you guys should just do a 2 or 3 week production. I'm sure that's easy on the families and everyone involved middle of the summer. Just something to think about.
Yeah. What you would have seen is that there was on stage, there's actually some animosity between Oliver and FDR.
Wow.
And there's a lot of pokes that Oliver Warbucks takes at Democrats in general. And people after the performances asked me if I added those myself. And I was like, no, those are in the script.
What was the worst one? What's the worst jab at a Democrat from Annie?
Probably when I'm talking, I have 3 different phone calls that I had to do, which are not, I don't think they're the easiest things to do because you got to act like you're on the phone with someone. But I tell Barney Baruch that he's got to get his pal Roosevelt to do something drastic. He needs a new approach, needs a new plan, needs a new something. And then I pause because Barney is supposedly saying something back to me. And I say, I know he's a Democrat, but he's a human too.
Nice.
That's probably
that was a good one. That was a good one. Yeah. Another one was he's a Democrat, but he's human too. And then the other one was find out what Democrats eat.
Call out.
Yeah, that's right.
Find out what Democrats eat.
That's good.
So I was going to say that it was never my plan. I watch John Chris sometimes, and they make these jokes about realtors joining churches just so that they can sell real estate to people at the church.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was at music theater, but throughout that, I don't know how it came about, but somehow it got out that I did a podcast. I don't know.
I don't recall, but I recall we talked about it.
Somehow it came out, and so I think some people have listened. So if you're listening because of Annie, maybe you can just comment Annie or something here. But through that, Charles was saying that you were thinking maybe about doing a podcast, or
I'd always expressed interest. And firstly, thank you guys for having me today. Really
it's great to have you.
And it's quite an honor to be here and chat with you. But always been interested in this type of media and just sharing information and reaching out to a greater community.
Yeah. So we thought, Charles had said, "Hey, can I just watch you doing?" I was like, "How about more than watch? How about we have you on as a guest?"
I was excited to get the text yesterday. I'm like, man, look at this. So it was great.
Yeah, that'd be good. So with that, maybe we...
Oh, yeah. We're guests.
Yeah, you remember the phrase you got to do for us to get into the body of it?
Yes, sir. Hang
pressure.
on, stand by, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see here. I apologize. We got to take this to the next level.
Let's fire up that twangy music.
From the hearts of the Lowcountry in South Carolina,
it's the Take 2 podcast, where we take theology to the next level. Lots of different topics we could talk about. One of the things that interests me, you and a couple of at least one other cast member, both went to Ferndale School, right?
That's right. We went to Ferndale Baptist in North Charleston.
You, Jared, Evans, anyone else that was there?
My wife, Angela. Attended there as well, and
so were you guys like high school sweethearts?
Well, that's a whole other story.
That's another podcast.
That's a whole other thing. But we knew each other in high school, and cool. And I think there's a couple other folks that had some touch to Ferndale, but yeah.
And from what I gather, kind of similar to Northside, maybe, or y'all competitors of Northside,
We
or
were bitter crosstown rivals, and don't let anybody tell you any different.
I love it.
There's some long-standing, rivalry there between Northside and Ferndale. We've actually got some good friends that were a part of the recent musical that attended Northside, and so we get to have that banter again, which is
pretty
fun.
cool.
And we can go down that path if you want, but just know
so
that
it was the Eagles versus what were y'all's mascot?
the Falcons.
The Falcons.
the Battle of the Birds.
Battle of the Birds. Yeah, it was awesome, and
That's good.
Honestly, if you're a Christian school, odds are Eagles. That's like in a lot of Christian schools. Falcons. I don't think you hear as much, but that's good. Good
Well,
name.
it was a differentiator for us. It was better than being the Crusaders.
Yeah.
A lot of Crusaders. That's
Yeah,
right. In my little Christian school league in Memphis, we had like maybe 6 schools. We were the Swordsmen. We had another school that were the Kingsmen. Had a Crusaders. Then 2 schools were the Eagles, and that's like like we need some more variety in the names,
So Zach and I are both now associated with Northwood Academy, and until like 2000, 2001, they also were the Eagles, and their colors were also blue and white. So there are people who've worked there that long, but they said they would all the time get questions, calls.
That is confusing.
And it would take them like 5 minutes to figure out, oh, you mean Northside. Like, no. I'm like, no. We're, I know we're both Eagles, we're both blue and white, but what you're describing is Northside because we don't have
not
anything.
Northside, and also not Northwood's bad. It's like they're getting it from all fronts. Everyone's confused about all of the names.
Yeah. So anything else? So now you homeschool, right?
I wouldn't say I do.
Well,
Smart
your
my
family
wife,
homeschools.
yes, but my family.
So maybe any thoughts on? Because I'm always interested when people make those switches. Where I grew up, rural Arkansas, homeschooling. When we grew up, homeschooling really wasn't on most people's radar. Time wise, there was no really private school option for me. But we had a rural public school that was pretty good, and there were a lot of believers that taught there. So there were no like big concerns about that. But in this day and age, if you're a believer, and especially if you're in a large area, those are concerns you have. How are we going to educate? So, I mean, any thoughts on what made you go from you both y'all were private school over to homeschool, or any of those things?
It's a great question. I appreciate you asking. My journey in the academic world, I attended public school on up through about 7th or 8th grade, and then I transitioned to private Christian school in North Charleston. I'm thankful that I had that opportunity. So went through that, and then life happens, and children happen, and we got down to my oldest child was getting ready to start college. So this was quite some time ago. As she was getting ready for school, my wife and I, we had a big conversation. What's the next best step for our family? And we really had some, from an academic perspective, and we really had some concerns. Is our child going to get what we want her to get in a kind of a traditional school setting? And
so did she go to?
She did not. No, we have homeschooled
the whole time.
Okay. All right. Yep. And so been fortunate, and every year we'd talk about it, we'd pray on it, and it was just the next best thing for us to do was to just keep that going. And thankfully my wife she's done an excellent job in that space, so wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. Any other question you had on
No,
education?
I like hearing that stuff too. I mean, I'm sure you get the flexibility, and we'll talk about it later, how it dovetails with, this theater experience and how that opens up. I think that's a good segue for some of that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, because I was going to talk about, that is a good segue into house theater. House theater, as I understand it, primarily is a mechanism for homeschoolers to get fine arts education. Is that correct?
I would agree that is an accurate statement.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Anything else you want to tell us about house, like how it came about, or
Yeah, my family and I have been a part of house for several years now. My older children have participated in musicals and through the academic year, but it is truly a fine arts program that was kind of an add-on or a bolt-on to the academic curriculum that we were teaching at home. So you have to, there's a academic component to it that parents have to have if you're going to homeschool your children. And so it really filled that void. And what we learned over the experience is that it really provides an environment of competitiveness, overcoming adversity, teamwork, character building, all of the things that kind of maybe when we think about sports, you think about all of those types of things. I can tell you from firsthand experience watching my children go through this, it does all of that. And then some. It's been a great experience. But yeah, to come back to it, it's absolutely a fine arts program designed for homeschool children over the academic school year.
And it looks like y'all offer like band.
Oh wow, I did not know this. Yeah.
Choir.
Yeah, there are several, and I'll
theater.
I'll confess, I don't have all the detail, but throughout the school year there's the acting piece, there's the set building piece, and they call that crew. There's the technical piece on learning how to do mics and run sound and run lights and those types of things. And then there's a singing component, there's a choir component. And I'm not doing it justice. I know there's some other levels of discipline
Where is it geographically? It's in North Charleston.
Do you go to Northwood Baptist for the courses? Is that what they're located?
So House present day is based out of Northwood Baptist Church on Green Ridge Road.
Gotcha.
And they meet there every Monday.
Okay,
and Northwood has been wonderful to host House over the years. And so House kind of, for lack of better words, takes over the campus for that day or a significant component of the campus. And they run their program. And I mean, several hundred families involved with this.
That's a big deal.
It's a great reach across the greater Charleston area.
And you're like a big fine arts guy, big acting guy. It's been like your whole career, right? Like that's like really you're all about that.
Well, if you consider 2 musicals and maybe 1 singing lesson, no, I've never been a fine arts drama theater type person.
That's amazing to me. Like with hearing all about the production and it's like you just jumped in FDR. I mean, I know you did one before this or a couple, but that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And one thing that I can just add for you. Watching my children start this several years ago when my wife told me, oh, hey, we're doing this. We've got this thing called House and we're doing this. Honestly, and I'll just raise my hand and tell you, as a dad, I thought, okay, well, just tell me where I got to be. I'll be there.
Right.
That I'm just being honest, And I just said, well, it's just another thing. And as we got into it and I watched my children grow and learn and watched how they behaved by themselves as they were trying to learn their lines or do what their instructors had told them to do, practicing and those types of things, I really became really curious about what they were truly learning there. And it was a great kind of foundational thing centered around, promoting Christ, promoting those types of fundamental religious approaches through this fine arts system, if you will. And I just became enamored with it and then watching their performances. So just for everyone listening and maybe watching in, the way it works is the start of your school year, all the children start off in a elementary, middle school, or high school, and then they're working towards the payoff at the end of the school year, which is their production. So think of like their show. So for example, maybe some of the elementary children this year are doing Snow White.
Okay, yeah.
So they're getting started right here at the beginning of the school year, and they're learning how to do their blocking and their singing and all line delivery and all of those types of things, building sets. And this goes on throughout the course of the school year. So they're building this foundation all throughout the year. And then the great payoff, or the championship game, if you will, is they get to perform what they've learned and what they've, in some cases, overcome. So it's been great to see these young people do what they do.
So they have 1 a year or 2 a year? Maybe I was wrong, but I thought I'm just informing myself.
Sure. So the way it works, the elementary school, I believe they have 3 shows. So they'll do their thing all throughout the academic school year, and then they'll have 3 shows where the public can come and watch what they've done and those types of things.
That's because they have like A, B, and C, but they're all basically doing the same.
They're doing the same thing.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. So different kids doing the same show.
Yeah, they'll have like an A cast or a B cast or a C cast. I'm not exactly sure how they designate them. And then the middle school children will do the same thing. It'll be like an A cast or a B cast, and then they'll come through and they'll do 3 or 4 or 5 shows at the end of their school year. And then the high school, in my experience, it's been kind of one big group, and they do, I believe it's 4 shows.
Wow.
So it's I'm telling you, it's
and your
thing.
wife like heads this up.
My wife is, she's the director of operations for it, and she does a lot of work behind the scenes. She really does. But
is that more on like the business side of house, or what does that entail?
More from an operational perspective. She's a complement to the, I believe it's the director of finance, the director of creative arts, those types of things. So she's on the leadership team, and there's 4 or 5 ladies who do a phenomenal job at putting this together, and it's a full-fledged organization. It's a 501c3. I believe I have that designation correct, but it's a thing. It's an absolute thing. So,
and does it mean that sometimes you get to stay behind later cleaning up than everyone else?
It's such a privilege to be able to do that, and yes, we do. We sometimes, but hey, that's just.
I always felt that like I would clean or well, just to be clear, I had so much costume stuff, especially if we went all the way through the show, because that quick change would just scatter all my stuff everywhere. And so not only would I be taking off my last costume, but then I'd be gathering up the pieces of the quick change and getting that up. So by the time I would get done, I would come out and be like, Robin, what's left for me to do? And she's like, I don't know. So I'd try to find something to do.
I bet you were a diva on the set.
No, he was. He absolutely
We clarified, diva is female, Devo is male. So,
hey,
so
I meant
Devo,
what I said.
Devo.
Okay, Devo, gotcha. Yeah, I bet you're high maintenance. Like, where's my snacks? Where,
That's
where,
good.
I need some water. Pat the sweat. No.
Fan.
But I would do a couple things, and she'd be like, Michael, just go. And I'd be like, but the Smits are still here. She's like, well, that's kind of part of their territory. I was like, okay, I feel bad.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. All right.
And I'm really fascinated about this. I grew up, we did some fine arts at my little Christian school, but it was like low stakes. It was a really great experience, but I am not a fine arts guy that is good at that kind of stuff. But I am fascinated between like the discipleship that I see like in the mission statement and these kind of things. Because I think on the sports side, that stuff is like that. To me, that makes sense. It's there. And this is like an area that might be missing. Like, you want your coach to be a Christian, that kind of thing. But I think it's like probably more important in this kind of environment with the fine arts and this kind of stuff. I would love to hear about the discipleship aspect, the missional aspect, how you pull all that together, because I think that's a huge strength of everything I hear about House is always so positive.
Well, thank you for that opportunity. I can share with you from a summertime house perspective, and what I mean by that is, so this is not during the school year. So during the school year, it's all about the homeschool children, and they're doing their thing. And the event that Michael and I participated in over the past couple of months, that's called Summertime House or Summertime Theater. So that's open to everyone.
Oh, okay.
And anyone can come audition and be a part of this summertime community. And Michael was one of those folks that came and was part of that, along with several other new faces that we got to enjoy being with this year. So you mentioned the discipleship piece of it. And Michael, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this. We had our end of summer cast party. So we had finished the show and we had an opportunity to come together and fellowship last Friday. And it was great. We had food and we had some desserts and all that stuff, just a chance to come together and kind of put a bow on our production, what we've done, because there is a sense of finality when you go through something like this. And keep in mind, we put together a full 2.5 hour Broadway style with live music, orchestra type. We did all of that in 2 months.
Wow.
And it's quite a heavy lift. I mean, and for folks that really can't put that into perspective, just trust me, it's a lot of work. But we signed up for it.
Yeah.
And so there's so much that goes into it, so much fun. But coming back to the discipleship piece of it, we had the opportunity to share some time last Friday, as I mentioned, and we just opened it up. We opened up the floor, and we're talking young people from the age of 9 on up to I think our oldest castmate was 71 in the show. Yeah. And so we had a vast range of age diversity and demographics across our cast. And we opened it up, and we had so many young people and older alike, just providing testimony of how good it was to be with like-minded people that love Christ, and promoting this story, this wonderful, wholesome, feel-good story with some adversity that you have to overcome and all of those types of things. And but we got to hear from 3 or 4, more than that, young people how it just touched them. And when I say young people, I'm talking preteen, young teenagers, on up to 71 years old. He gave a great testimony of how it impacted his life.
And you guys are rubbing shoulders so frequently for 2 months, because, I mean, trust me, that's all I had heard of from this guy. I was like, I got Annie rehearsal guy. So I know you're spending so much time that you build those relationships, and then we have these testimonies, you say things, you know this person, you can see how they've put in this work, and it means maybe a little more than, just some random person. But what do you have to add?
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the cast members, she attended CBC for a little bit, Emily Sherlock.
And, I know she was in this.
Yeah, she was Lily.
Okay, I know her
you
really
may not know who Lily is, but she's one of the sham artists who tries to steal Annie at the end. But she and her fiance both are part of CSU's music theater department.
They're getting married Saturday. Shout out. Are you going to be there?
I'll be there. After all these 2 months, I didn't get an invitation.
Wow, Emily! Well, I'm privileged. I will be there. I haven't talked to her in a long time, but we hope we'll see her.
Yeah.
There.
Well, tell her to say hi. But she was at this closeout party, and she was like, me and Evan were both talking about, this is one of the closest casts we've been a part of, and they've been with
CSU,
a lot of
they did
different,
a lot of stuff.
And they weren't saying anything negative about CSU, just saying something positive about the closeness of this cast and how it really felt like a family, and I felt like that. Even from the auditions, I'm auditioning, I'm like, you're looking at your competition, and I knew from talking to Zachary Trueluck, who's in my chess thing, that that Trey was going to be trying out, maybe trying to get more bucks, but it was still, there was a camaraderie there even then. Like, I was welcomed in, met Charles, Jared, and just it was like, hey, we're a group of guys going to be rubbing shoulders and and looking out for each other. So felt that way.
And the element of competition is always a good thing.
Yep.
And we had the ability to showcase what God's given us. In some cases, in my case, what God has not given me, but we've got to have fun with it, and that's really the key thing for me. Is it's so much fun, and I haven't even mentioned the best part of this whole thing. I had the ability to participate with my children in this.
That's pretty cool.
And there's a whole history there. But it's just so much fun. So you mentioned the camaraderie part, but camaraderie usually doesn't happen unless there's some competition too. Mm-hmm. So it's good, healthy. It makes you work. Yeah. It's not like you can just come sign up and you're going to get the part that you want. You got to audition and you've got to compete, and that puts an extra element of it.
Yeah. So, talk to us about the first time you did Little House. How did was it your oldest? Who was it that said, Dad, come do this with us, and how did they persuade you to get to sign up?
Well, again, good question. I've got to go back. I believe it was the year before Little House, or maybe 2 years before Little House. There was another production that House put on during the summertime. Everybody knows this show, Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And my children, my older children, were both in that show, and my middle child, she had a pretty big part in that show. And I recall us being on a trip, and we were in a hotel in the middle of, I think we were in Maine, believe it or not.
Place to be.
I remember watching.
Did you see any
her.
moose while you were up there?
It's so funny you mentioned that.
I'm glad you mentioned. Yeah.
My wife we've yet to see a moose on any of our trips, and she claims that moose are just they don't exist because she hasn't seen one.
This is what people say in Maine. I've been to Maine every year for like 15, 20 years. And in my mind, I know I've seen moose. This is what my brother's running joke. It's getting me fired up. But everyone tells me up there, no, you haven't seen moose. It's very rare to see a moose. Like the people have been there their whole lives and seen like 3 moose. Anyway, sorry.
So I was
got me fired up.
For a while, he's like, oh yeah, I've seen moose. Yeah, I've seen moose. And then he went on vacation. All the people up there listened like, Zach, you've never seen a moose up here. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's all good.
You're up in Maine.
So we're at a hotel room and we're traveling. We're on family vacation. And I remember seeing my daughter. She was by herself. Her back was to the family, and she's looking out the window. And I remember watching her practice because there was a dance routine in Mary Poppins that she was a part of, and she had to learn the choreographic component of that. And she was practicing by herself. On our family vacation.
Wow.
During show season, during this is the part where we're rehearsing, we're doing all those things, and so we had asked for time to get away, but she was putting the work in, and I recall that, and I'm like, she's a young child. She knows that it takes work to do what she wants to do. So that told me right then and there something is happening positive at house that's causing these young people to have the want to. There's a level of, you got to have the want to, but you also have to have some level of desire, to do this, and some talent. And so I remember that planting a seed with me. So fast forward a couple of years to Little House. I knew my children wanted to do it, and I knew that I didn't want to spend the summer just carting them back and forth and not being with them during those pretty big blocks of time. Over rehearsal, and I said, maybe I'll just try it. My wife encouraged me, and my children encouraged me, and you could do it. And I was like, well, you know what? What do I have to lose? And I did.
Wow.
And I went and tried out, and I got a small part, and I was so thankful for it, and I did the thing, and it was so special to be able to do that with my children.
Yeah, that's amazing. There's probably not many things you can participate in that way. It's my kids are older right now, so Michael knows. It's like I'm trying to coach them, and there'll be a time where I'm not going to be able to coach them. They'll be past that, but it's such a meaningful thing to be able to see them grow, push them a little bit. They see you and the work you're putting in. It's going both ways. That's pretty cool. I like hearing that kind of thing, and that hearing that about house is man. Family-centered place, gospel-centered place. It's a place where you can go into theater, and it's such a good environment to grow those skill sets.
Absolutely. It definitely allows for folks to hone in on talent, and it allows you to overcome adversity. It allows you to, it provides a space for you to work on things that you didn't think you could work on and overcome. So.
Wow. FDR question. Did you get into character? Were you looking at all this footage and trying to get into the person of FDR?
I gotta tell you, man, I was so honored to just have an opportunity to audition. I will tell you this. When I went in for my audition, you go in and you're in front of the directors who are casting the musical and those types of things, but you're in there by yourself. You're not in there with the other folks. And I purposefully grabbed a chair because FDR was, he was wheelchair bound at that point in his life. And so I grabbed a chair and I sat down, and they kind of looked at me. And I said, well, FDR's in a wheelchair. And so I tried to do some research and see. And
that's pretty cool.
But I had no preconceived notion. I'm just very thankful that I was able to be a part of it. It was great.
Oh, yeah.
My kids mentioned you doing your hands like this, and why did he keep doing that? Because that's what FDR did with his hands all the time. So did you look up mannerisms and stuff like that?
Yeah, I did a little bit of research on that, but mostly, and just being honest here, that's me.
Okay,
I
would do that anyway. Yeah. So it just kind of worked.
Yeah.
Maybe I was typecast.
Yeah. Also, what I love having a wheelchair on set. When I was in college, I worked as an usher. We did I was not in the productions, but I would work on the aisle, that if someone had a wheelchair, it would go to my aisle. And I would say, behind the scenes, there was a lot of wheelchair jousting and races. And I wonder, any of that happen on cast? A little bit of, funny stuff, or something that happened that's didn't go according to plan?
I thought Charles was going off the stage one time. Was it Jared running with you in the wheelchair, and y'all were headed right towards the edge, and then he finally stopped you right at the very end?
We had a couple of close calls there. I don't know if it would have been a new deal had we.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was great. Had so much fun. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was good. Something else I was going to ask, but I forgot. So we can. Anything else FDR related?
Well, yeah, that part's so fascinating. How much I don't know Annie. I've never seen it before, so I don't know how much based on my conversation with you, it seems like politics and stuff like play a more prominent role than you would think. Like it was Annie's idea for the New Deal. Maybe I'm overstating it, but like things like this.
Yeah. FDR picks up on Annie's optimism. Well, I think he's trying to in the scene. He's trying to get his cabinet to be a little bit more optimistic, and then Annie comes in and just like.
And she really helps him.
Yeah.
And I can empathize with you, Zach, that I had no prior knowledge of Annie. I'd heard about it, but I never watched the movie.
That's basically me, too. Yeah, I'd seen bits and pieces, and they were like, you would make a good Warbucks. I was like, I don't really know who Warbucks is.
Yeah, and I had really no preconceived, I just knew it was a little girl with red hair. I had no idea what the story was. And once I started learning about it, I really became enamored with there is definitely some political themes with the way the musical is written.
Okay,
it's a little different from the movie.
When was it written? It was written during the time of FDR. It was like after the fact, looking back.
Yeah, so there was a comic strip that was written during the Depression itself, I believe.
Oh, so it's like pretty.
And that guy, it was called Little Orphan Annie.
That's
and that
right,
guy hated FDR, from what I understand.
Oh, okay, yeah,
and
gotcha.
so he would make FDR look bad in the comic strip. So I think, and then at some point in time when Annie hit, I think in the 70s, they wanted to make a musical out of it, and the guy who wanted to make a musical out of it, they had some of the comics. But it really wasn't enough because I think the Warbucks was there, Annie was there, maybe Grace and FDR, but they didn't have like a full. So then he asked someone, I did some research after our last podcast. He asked someone to write a book to kind of flesh out the story. And then they based a musical on some of that stuff that's in the book. I think because the musical and the book kind of came together, I think during the 70s, if I got my timing right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So if anyone's like interested in-house, I mean, obviously you two are the people to talk to, but what's the best way to get more information, about upcoming productions, or how can I get involved in that kind of thing?
Well, I guess if they're homeschooled, then they probably need to just go to the website.
Okay.
And it's House
and you
Theater,
get credit
and
for
it's
that.
spelled the fancy way, so the R comes before the E at the end of theater.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Housetheater.org.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
If for community events, there's the next one coming up, if they're interested, is House for the Holidays. It's more of just singing, although we have done some minor, dance. Nothing like NYC.
That's right. That's right.
But some minor like movements or stuff like that. But that's more of a choral thing that is for Christmas. And those auditions are going to be opening up pretty soon, probably sometime mid to late August.
Yeah, early fall. They'll be opening up.
And then summer productions next year if they're community. Yeah. I was talking to Adelaide. Adelaide, awesome lady, awesome director. I was saying, the first rehearsal, I don't know that you were there, the first rehearsal that I was there, I think it was like me and Trey, Lauren, Natalie, maybe Buck. But just my expectations, like what are they? Because this was my first production. Even though I've done a lot of singing, I've done some skits. I showed up, and what I thought Adelaide was going to want from me, which was like I was trying to memorize as much as possible. What she really wanted was, can you be Warbucks? Can you convince people that you're not Michael Mott, you're Warbucks? And so it took me maybe about halfway through the rehearsal, like I've missed the goal of this initial rehearsal, because I was trying to do everything from memory, and like, you can read your lines. But so anyways, I thought I was getting fired after that. But
like I'm
okay, I lost it. But she was really great and really helped. I think bring me along a lot. But I gave Claude all the information on our cast. Did you hear about this?
No.
So I told Claude about, here's all the cast members, here's its strengths, here's its weaknesses, because we got a lot of talented kids because of homeschool. But so you may not have I thought our orphans were awesome. Like that first time that we got to watch them do Hard Knock Life, I was recording it. I sent it to my family. I was like, and we were maybe a month out. I was like, this is awesome. Claude came up with some suggestions for her for next summer, but we don't know. Obviously, we'll find out at Christmas the planned.
That's right. I believe that's the
production for next summer.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and if I could just give a quick shout out to Adelaide Lovelady, that's her name. She's a wonderful director, and she's a great developer of people and talent, and she has a wonderful ability to see something that we may not believe is there, and she does a great job at kind of bringing that all together. I mean, she's the lead director, and there's a reason for that, but it's quite a privilege to watch it all come together over a very condensed period of time. I think you would maybe agree with me on that. And
and patience.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, and I appreciated her asking questions. Sometimes she'd ask me a question, and just when she asked a question, it's like, oh, I already understand what I need to change, what I need to do. But instead of telling you like Warbucks needs to do this, she might say, "How do you think Warbucks would react when he sees
she would make you think
That's
about
like great.
She would make you think about it.
That locket matches up with Annie's. Oh, yeah, I haven't been playing that right at all. I need to change how Warbucks reacts to seeing Rooster's locket supposedly match up. So yeah. Anything else from Annie?
If you missed it, too bad.
Man,
it was great.
I was hoping for a 2-man show to just run through it
we
real
could
quick.
run some lines. But no, it was wonderful. And again, just thankful for the opportunity to just share a little bit about the experience of it. It truly is a wonderful way. It's a wonderful use of time. And I'll summarize my thoughts on Annie and Little House this way. If anyone ever played sports, if you guys, I think you played football. I'm sure you.
Yeah, I was a big football player.
Yeah, gotcha. I can see that.
You did a lot of
right?
soccer and basketball.
But you played sports, and we had so much fun, right? As younger men doing that. In my case, much younger men. I had as much fun as high school baseball.
Wow. Yeah.
Doing Annie, and so I can tell you that it was just good. Cool. Old-fashioned fun, and it was wonderful.
So, to fathers or mothers out there whose kids want them to get involved, what would you tell them?
Don't be scared. If you're scared by a dog, don't be scared. You just embrace it.
Yeah.
Embrace it, and you'll find that you'll get more out of it than you think you would. Yeah. I can attest to that.
Wonderful. Does he have to close it out too?
I think he has to close it out.
Yeah, pull up your notes.
Sorry, guys, I'm a little. Let's see
you're
here,
good.
here.
We'll fill up the empty time by.
I was gonna say, if I knew Emily Sherlock was in this thing, I definitely wouldn't have missed it.
Man!
I'm just kidding.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's our take.
Thanks for listening to Take Two. Find us wherever you find podcasts and on YouTube for those who want to watch our videocast.